Okay, mine says live now. So
Yep, so does
hopefully,
mine.
yay! Hopefully this is working then.
Okay.
All right, who has any idea what we're supposed to be doing? Ready, set, go.
That was a
Yeah.
question. I have been like looking at it and looking at it. I don't even know how many times I've listened to her video and looked at it. But I think what we're supposed to do is like an outline of what we got from the reading from the book. And I think it's separate from the literature review, although they keep trying to mingle together in my head. So I'm not entirely sure, but that's kind of what I've been getting from what I've been looking at. So I don't know what you ladies have, but that's my impression.
I think so. I think we're supposed to review what we've read
Right.
and what we've written down in our outline. Because
Right.
if we were to do a video and then post it, we would have taught from our outline.
Right.
So this is the same thing, only we're just talking about it all together instead of doing a video, posting it, then everybody commenting on it.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
It does, but I thought that we were going to be more talking tonight about the reflection questions. Is that?
Yeah, I think the outline was supposed to be of the reflection questions. That's where I was confused too.
Right.
Was because I was like, I think the reading is supposed to be like our thoughts and reflections on the reading and the reflection questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the outline of the literature review is a separate outline because I think that's what was confusing me.
Okay, let me go. I found something in the, hang on, let me pull up. Excuse me. In the questions and conversation, did you guys read that? Okay, and Michelle posted this. I'm a little confused on the outline. Maybe there's information somewhere. Anyway, she was confused in what the video was and all that. So then our teacher said, sorry you were confused at first. If you meet with your group, you have until Friday to submit your outline, so you are in good shape still. You do not need to answer the reflection questions, although you can if you wish. You are to create at least a 1.5-page outline that demonstrates you have done all the reading and are integrating it into your personal progress. I posted the rubric for it in this week's notes, which only says you go above and beyond what she asks. And I'm going, which is what?
Right.
Which is what? Which is what?
Right. Oh, good. I'm glad someone asked that question because I was seriously contemplating asking it.
Right. So it says, do we attach our reflection questions? This was our question. Do we attach the reflection questions to our outline, or do we have an outline for each section in the chapter? Also, it talked about an outline when you post your 8 to 10 minute video. So we don't, since we're meeting, we don't have to post it till Friday, is what she said, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But I think we still have to post the outline in addition. I think this video just replaces our videos and our discussion on each other's videos, right?
Right.
Sorry, let me see if I can write that. I don't need to take a radio survey right now. I'm sorry. Anyway, so do we want to just kind of go over what we got out of the reading then?
Yeah, should we go chapter by chapter and just kind of, should we look at the reflective questions? Because they're kind of like the highlights of what we should have.
Right.
I think that's the easiest way to do it. That sounds good to me.
I think so.
All right. So that's kind of where I was focused for tonight. But
me too.
So for week 1, we were like reading about the history of family life education, and the first question was, in what capacity do we see ourselves getting involved with strengthening marriages and families through family life education?
Right.
Anyone? I have, well, I'll go. I have two kind of thoughts of focus for that. I work and have, this is my 21st year, I think, at a Montessori school. So we have children from 3 through 6th grade, and I can see myself staying in some capacity there at the school. I was in a classroom for 13 years, and for the past 8 years I've been working in a more administrative capacity in the office. And you know, I can see me using that and kind of expanding what I'm doing now. And certainly if I were to continue there and become like the administrator of the school, that deals with a lot more parent education and things like that. Possibly staying there doing that and doing that, or divorce, remarriage, moving, new schools, you know, blended families. I could see going more that direction, and maybe a therapeutic capacity, but of course that's more school. So
Right.
I don't know. But that's what I see for me. How about you guys?
Well, mine is more, you know, I really have this desire to help widows through the transition with grief. And I don't know, I was looking at that and I'm like, I don't want to really get into the therapy part of it so much as I want to kind of share my story and how I made that transition through grief and building a life. And so I kind of see it more as like becoming an author or a teacher, maybe workshops or something. I don't know. So I'm excited about this class because I think it'll be the perfect bridge to help me with that. And I'm actually starting to write my book, so we'll see. So far I just have an outline, but someday when I'm not so inundated with homework, I'll actually get to writing my book.
Yeah.
But I like, I think it was you, Razan, that shared the like helping families through transition. And it's interesting because as I share with people that I want to do this book on helping widows through transition, I'm starting to hear more and more people say, well, does this apply to divorce? And how does this apply to divorce? And so I've thought through that too, and I'm like, well, maybe it's more helping families in transitions, like specifically like marriage type transitions, because I've been divorced too, and there's a whole different, like, there's a grieving process there too, but there's a whole different dynamic that comes with having to co-parent with an ex-spouse and heal a bunch of other wounds and deal with them on an ongoing basis and all of those other things that come with being divorced that don't come with being widowed. And then, you know, the single component of it too, you know, how do you handle being a single parent? And we were just called the singles reps, again, my husband and I actually. And even just the process of how do you open yourself to loving again after losing a spouse to death or divorce. And so it's kind of that kind of component, but I see myself more in the author, speaker type role rather than in a counseling office somewhere. So I don't know, that's kind of my spiel.
I've been thinking along the lines of social working, where you would help families get the things that they need, or even like in like nursing homes and helping the family with that kind of thing, so that they can, as they put their parent or whatever in a facility, what are some of the needs that the families have as they have to do that hard thing, and then the resident and what they need and all the things like that. So, something kind of along that line.
Okay. Very cool.
Excellent. Okay, the next one was, oops, wrong paper. The tremendous need for scholarly family life education, especially for groups of audiences that are at the greatest risk for experiencing family and societal problems. What specific strengths, abilities, and expertise do you have that would enable you to play a role in taking family life education to these underserved groups that often need family life education the most? And for myself, I noted that I'm a pathetic person, but also I think my biggest strength is the long history that I have of working in education. And I believe that a lot of the groups that are underserved are probably underserved because they're uneducated, not in a way that like they're not smart, not that kind of uneducated, but uneducated in that they don't know what the options are and they don't know where to find the help. Like you were saying, Roseanne, trying to connect them in with those services. And I think that, everyone wants the best for their family. I mean, not everyone, but most people want what's best for their family, and they're willing to do the work if they knew what it was, and they want to make improvements and bring good things to their family. So I think that just having that core belief that that's what people want, and giving them those skills and those components, I think that's a what did I say? Let's see. Whatever's within their capability to make improvements if they feel valued and competent. That's what I wanted to bring out. And so, just being willing to help bridge that gap, to give them those skills and that confidence to be able to do what they need to provide for their family. So
that kind of goes along with what we were reading for this week about how if they don't recognize that they have a need or that they have a problem or that they actually want to change, they're not going to get help.
Exactly.
Or they don't know that they need help. That's probably the big thing. They don't even know they need the help.
Right. Yeah, so for my answer to that, I was looking at my strengths and how I would be able to take education to people. And I guess for me, I have an ability to learn quickly and to teach other people. And I think my biggest challenge, though, I didn't ask that part, but as I was thinking through the scholarly part, I think this is where this class will really stretch me, because I've had such a wide variety of experience. Most of what I've learned and most of what I would teach comes from my experience and the support and the various coping tools that I've learned as I've gone through these processes for myself. I am drawing on everything that I'm learning as I go through school, but I haven't really delved into the scholarly information in the same way that I'm having to do for this class. And so I think that will be a good way to kind of bring the more scholarly component into it. There's a part of me that's resistant to that because my experience, and I forget which chapter it was in, but that thing where it says it rings true to life and it applies to the people you're connecting with. I think of the 5 stages of grief, and it doesn't fit for any of the widows I know. I mean, some people have been through various pieces of that, but it's not a linear process, and it's not something that you can easily quantify into steps. And so trying to take the theory and combine it with the experiences of real people, I think that's where I'm kind of trying to blend the two together so that they really kind of merge together in that triangle of it rings true for me, it rings true for the people that I'm teaching. You know, it's well grounded in research and it works in real life. So that diagram was like really powerful to me because I was like, you know, theory is nice and all, but if you can't apply it in real life, it's really not that helpful. And so kind of bridging that gap for people is kind of what I see as one of my strengths. So
Good. Yeah, I was just pulled that up, and it says, you know, do the idea ring through, and do they and incorporate knowledge, culture, expertise, and live the experience of the learner.
right.
So it has to be both. You know, that Venn diagram, it's got to be there in the sweet spot.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, in chapter 2. But yeah, I really like that diagram because I was like, you know, we've got to, you know, it's nice to have the research, but it's got to also ring true and fit in real life. So, and actually help.
I think that's one thing that's, I don't know if it is a strength or anything, but I liked what you said, how if you know, you can tell them all the research, you can tell them what it's supposed to be, but if it's not going to make sense to them or it doesn't fit their situation, then it's not. So drawing upon, like you said, the scholarly plus the experiences, that's kind of where that is. Some of the strengths that I had thought of and abilities is, kind of like you guys said, just the experience that we've been through. I have a child that is disabled, and so having to advocate for her and go through all the problem or go through everything and find out, because a lot of times you don't know that there's this program or that program or that program unless you're actually told about it, because the state isn't going to say, look, this is all right here for you. No, you have to find out through this person over here and this friend over here, and wait, what? I could have done that. And so you know, having the ability to, you know, reach out to other people and let them know about things that are there and things that are available. That's probably the thing that I kind of look to and try to incorporate.
Yeah, the word that I'm hearing in what you're saying is being an advocate.
Right.
Right? You know, that's perfect. All right. Let's see. As stated, FLE programs are founded in the best current scholarship if they are to enjoy credibility. Unfortunately, there are too many family life resources available in communities with questionable scientific foundations. Why is it so critical that we draw upon literature with strong theoretical or research-based foundation when teaching family life education for our practicum project? And I put down, you know, anyone can seem like an expert if they're reasonably smart and confident and passionate about their subject. You know, throw in a charismatic personality and, you know, you can lead a lot of people into believing whatever it is. And, you know, the programs that we're dealing with families tend to be so emotionally charged anyway, that I think when we can keep it based in solid research, it keeps it real and it keeps it honest and based in the facts, and there's no like subterfuge or ulterior motive there, you know, and you keep that big emotional part out of it. It kind of keeps your whole thing on your program on level ground, I think.
Yeah, I agree that it helps keep everything leveled out. Um, the biggest thing that stood out to me was it builds your credibility when you're based in sound research, and it by default it also builds the credibility of other family life educators and kind of builds the credibility of our whole field. The more we keep it grounded in research and techniques that actually work, instead of you know, just, well, this is what worked for me, so obviously it works for everybody, you know, which isn't necessarily true. So I think that it helps bring balance and helps kind of ground us, and it also helps open our eyes to other possibilities. I thought it was really interesting at the end. Sorry, I have notes going every which way. But synergy was one of the values that I read about, like with the values in the Appendix A, and how, you know, when we work together, we come up with possibilities we didn't even think of. And in a way, when we dive into the research and we see what other people have done, we are collaborating with them in a way. I mean, we're not working with them directly, but we're building on what they've done, and we're able to bring so many more ideas and so many more things into what we can bring to other people. So I think that that's an important component.
So I kind of put the same thing that you were talking about. You know, the more people we have, the more we can draw from, and the more we, like you said, the synergy. It builds on each other, and if we use strong foundational, what am I thinking of? The literature and stuff, and the research that is solid in the foundation, then you're reaching those people who are in the audience who like to learn through statistics and stuff like that, and want the facts. Some of them want the touchy-feeling, but some of them need the facts. And so when you do that, I think you're touching on the way everybody learns and the different styles that people learn in.
I think it also kind of keeps us from spinning our wheels, you know, like the reinventing the wheel. If we go to that core of research that's already been done, you know, then we can build on it. We're not starting from the ground anymore. We've got that solid history to go back to.
Right. So question, how long do you guys want to go?
Good question.
Does anyone know what time we actually started? Because I didn't look at the clock.
I'm not sure what time we actually started.
I'm surprised it doesn't have a little timer.
Because I know it took us a while to get everyone logged in, and so.
Right.
I think if we keep going through the questions one by one, we'll go way over the time that we need to go over.
We go over them and just have one person answer them and only chime in.
Because I have to say, I have a meeting at 4:30 or whatever. At the half hour, I've got to be at another meeting.
Okay. Okay.
I've got another one after this too, immediately following.
Right. So.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe we could just kind of pick one or something and.
Yeah. Okay. So chapter 2 was the designing our education programs. So that talked about the levels of prevention, primary, secondary, and tertiary, and what you were most interested in. And then potential problems if an educator slides into providing therapeutic remediation. And then it got into stage 1 and stage 2, both the problem analysis, you know, the importance of thoroughly identifying a problem or need of the audience, and how does one go about that? And then consulting with the program design has to do with consulting the target audience to assess needs and how our program goals should be directly related to the needs. So the question then is, what are some simplified ways you can assess and respond to the needs of those you work with? You want to stab at those?
Well, I mean, even in our reading this week, what was it in chapter? Oh, I don't remember which chapter it was. They're kind of all like together.
Yeah.
And so you're going, wait, we've already read that, right? So it talked about, how to, ask them what they need,
Mm-hmm.
face to face. Do a poll, do like a where they fill out a sheet of questions or something like that. Those are the two things that popped into my mind first.
Right. Well, and I think looking at why the need for such specificity in our topic, I think that's almost protecting us, because you don't get spun off into la la land of something that's completely an offshoot, and it really helps, you focus. And so the more you can focus, I think the more of, I'm going to use expert, but the more expert you can become on that topic, rather than, oh, I know a little bit about a lot of things. For our presentation, we're supposed to be a professional, educator about this. So we really want to keep to a very specific parameter.
Right. Yeah.
Anything else from chapter 2 that stuck out in your outlines?
Well, you talked about the diagram and stuff.
Yeah, I really liked that diagram. That was my favorite part of chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is how do we bring it all together for them? And I think there was a piece, I don't know exactly where it was, but it was like, anticipate where you want to lead them to, and maybe that's part of their needs, is how do they get from where they may be stuck or where they are to kind of the place where you want to lead them to.
Mm-hmm.
There's some needs analysis there too.
Which is, if they're sitting in a class and you're telling them all this stuff, but I've sat in classes going, but how do I do that? How do I get there? How do I change that habit? How do I? Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be practical application. We talked about.
Exactly. I think maybe just for the sake of time, maybe we could each choose maybe our favorite piece of the stuff we haven't covered yet. And then I also wanted to confirm with you ladies, I think for the portfolio pieces, we're supposed to submit those to each other for feedback before we submit them for grading. I kind of realized that after I submitted my stuff backwards.
Right.
But I think going forward, that's a resource that we have with each other, and being able to look over each other's things and kind of give feedback before we submit them. So.
How did you guys do on your first submission?
I have a lot to fix and resubmit.
So, I'm a resubmitter.
But I'm really glad
it?
She gave really good feedback. Mine popped up in like the announcements, or I don't know what you call those things, the square in the middle at the top.
Yeah, at the very top of your page. It's got the little...
I'm still learning. It calls it
she says
alerts. Yeah, mine popped up in update alerts.
Yeah, I think so.
I would imagine you can find it under grades too if you missed the update alert, but mine came up as an alert when it was graded. So, but I like she gave really specific feedback, so now I have a starting point to go back and be like, oh yeah, I need to, fix all of this. So I need to do that and resubmit. But
yeah, I completely missed a section apparently. She was like,
oops.
This whole... Oh, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, and I missed headings. I missed, like, the way I was talking about people, and apparently I completely messed up the way I wrote my goals. So I was supposed to be focused on what I was intending to teach them, not what they were learning. So I had that kind of reversed. So I'm just glad that we have the opportunity to resubmit with more specific.
Oh, right. I wish that everything was like that.
No, right.
Okay, so the last bits are this week's stuff. Chapter 16 on marketing and
right.
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 assessing the needs of the audience. We talked about that a little bit. Why is that an important aspect of the marketing?
Right.
Right, yeah. That if you don't know their
Experience
needs,
in
where are
marketing.
you going?
Yeah, and then the last, I don't know if that's the last part of chapter 1, and then the appendix about facilitator approach, beliefs and purposes of the role of the family, values and beliefs that provide guidance as you work with people, and
I liked all the
motivating
principles in
those
the
we work with.
appendix.
Yeah, I like the synergy one.
Yes, definitely. Well, I think my favorite part was that looking at the different presentation methods as well as looking at the basic values. I'd never seen them explained like that before. And as I went through, and it's like, pick some that you really agree with, and I was like, check, 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 check.
Yes.
I agree with all of them.
Yes.
So like, how do I pick just some? But I thought that they were really well explained, and that they're universal enough principles that everyone can agree on them. They didn't have, you know, how some things have like a religious charge to it, or some people, you know, it triggers a lot of people. But these seem neutral enough that they were basic, like human right type things that, yeah, most people believe in goodness. Most people believe in the natural order of reaping and sowing, and you know,
Right.
consequences for behavior, and various things that aren't so charged, I guess. And so I thought that it was presented in a way that you know, in today's society where people get offended over almost anything, this is like the least offensive way I've seen of just presenting the truth, that these are principles at work. This is how they work. And, you know, at first I thought I really liked the collaborator model, and then I looked at the eclectic model, and I'm like, ooh, I like that one even better, because then I can do whichever one fits the best, you know. And I did like the way that the marketing piece made me think about connections I have and places where the people I want to reach would go, and how I might be able to partner with those. Because I already have, I'm reaching out to the Modern Widows Club that I'm a member of to teach them. But it got me started thinking of, well, maybe I could talk to Solace House. Maybe I could talk to the hospice that helped me through my husband's death. Maybe, you know, maybe there's other places and organizations, maybe even just the Family Support Center that I go to might know someone. And so it really got my brain thinking, how can I reach more people than just sending this out to this group and saying, oh, that'll be enough to meet my minimum, I'm good. You know, how can I really broaden it and try to reach as many people as I can? So it really got me thinking, and I really appreciated that.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I think one of the coolest things for me this week is kind of seeing how I have 2 other classes. I've got a communications class right now and a psychology class. And it's like I'm having trouble keeping the classes apart because the information is dovetailing together so much. I'm like, wow, you know, my communications class, we're talking all about values and, you know, how do you use your values, you know, and it's a persuasion class, you know, and how does that affect what people believe and motivate them. And the psychology class is talking all about how to, you know, set up a study and like do your research, you know. I'm like, that's exactly what we're doing. And so that's really interesting to me to see the different facets, you know, and how that all comes together and works in the goal, you know, in family life education.
I agree with you. I've got the psychology class where we're making our studies and stuff,
Mhm.
and then I've got a advocacy class, and I'm going, okay, now where did I read that, and which class am I in?
Right.
Because it all sounds the same right now.
Right, and I'm like, I'll do the reading, and I think, wait a minute, like you said, I read that already. But,
Right.
oh, that was in that book.
But that
So,
was over there. Right. And
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so we're trying to, get the study up and going, and how do you, and so this helps also with the study, but the study helps with this class, and
Right.
wow. And you're
Right.
asking for
Is that
something.
the,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that the 302, or is it the one above that?
I got the 302.
That's the one that I've got too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so, in the appendix, some of the principles that they listed I thought were interesting, like the principle of chaos. I
yeah,
went, wait, what?
I know, right?
that's a principle I need in my life right now.
Right. But
But
the
my
principle of evil, and I went, whoa. But then as you read it, you're going, oh, it says to ignore evil is to be unprepared for the challenges of life.
Right.
What truth is, how true is that?
right.
So I thought it was
Be
interesting, the
prepared.
principles that they actually went through.
Right.
Yeah, and the chaos one is the same way. It's wise to make allowances for imperfection and untidiness in life and relationships, because none of us are getting out unscathed, right? It's
Exactly.
Right. Relationships are messy. It's just the way they are.
I concur.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that we've probably gone well past our time because it's been at least 15 minutes since we looked at the time. So
Yes.
I could keep talking to you ladies because I'm enjoying our conversation. But I think
Yes.
I don't want to keep you guys and make you late for your other meetings. So
Do you think, I have not looked forward to see whether we need to meet again regularly, but should we kind of, does Thursday night work for you to have kind of a standing date in case we need to, rather than always trying to go back and figure out what day works for you and what time? And
it does for me as long as it's not a fourth Thursday, and I think it falls every 3 weeks. So I don't know. I haven't looked at that with the calendar to see. But yeah, the fourth Thursdays are my widow group meetings, and especially since I'm trying to coordinate this with them, I feel like I need to do
That would be important.
probably be there.
But yeah, that would be helpful if I can be at
Well,
those.
even if we don't need to meet, we could talk about what we're writing that week, or, hey, did you understand this?
Well, I think we still need to email each other for feedback on the pieces
Right, I do
that
too.
we're writing. And so, like, even just this week, there's like the marketing thing and like the way, I forget what it's called, but like how we set up the I don't know. Everything's blending together. But you guys know what I'm talking about. But the pieces that are due this week, basically. So.
Right, yeah, we need to email about those. So
And then let's see. Roseanne, are you going to post the recording of this?
Yes. I will. Since it's not my stuff, I will post it.
Okay. And then I think we just need to submit our outlines and then get to work on our rewrites and our stuff for this week.
Yes. And I'll go back and see if I can find it, if she's even sent something back to me.
I bet she
I don't
has.
see anything.
I don't know. You can always email her if you can't find it. Because I think she's got the grading done.
And I looked at the grades, and it doesn't show anything in the grades. And I'm going, interesting.
Okay, ladies, that sounds good. So expect some emailing back and forth before we're done with this week, and we'll kind of keep Thursday as a tentative meeting point if we need it, and
Okay. Yeah.
we'll work
Sounds
other things around that.
okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.